everybody, happy Monday, happy Monday. All right, I'm back. That was a rough week, but it's the season and things happen, and like I mentioned last week, self-care first. So if it's your first time joining us, I'm Paola Guillon. I am a success coach, author, professional tango dancer in Austin, Texas. I love doing those happy Mondays. If you ever have a subject that you would like me to touch base on, please let me know. What we're going to talk about today is vulnerability. And the reason for it is because it's becoming trendy. And when something becomes trendy, we have to be very careful with it, because then all of a sudden it just goes in all sorts of directions. I have been suggested a few weeks ago that I ought to be vulnerable in a certain area of my life. And I thought about it. I was like, yeah. And vulnerability is all my thing. It's just not something that I typically avoid. But I really reflected on that specific point. And for that specific aspect, I was like, hey, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. The reason for it is, we can be vulnerable, open ourselves up, let the world see us. There is a matter of evaluating the risks that come with it. So being vulnerable, being brave doing it, exposing ourselves to the world, absolutely. Doing it with a very high chance that we are going to get emotionally beaten to a pulp is actually reckless. It's not vulnerability. In vulnerability, we want to connect. We are not doing it to show off. We're not doing it like, hey, look at me, I'm being vulnerable right now, therefore you have to connect with me, write this at this level. There are some things that vulnerability are going to be amazing for, and there are some situations that we really need to avoid. So there is a risk evaluation that needs to take place. And the same way that Brené Brown says, your story, not everybody has the right to your story. Not everybody has the right to your vulnerability either. We can be vulnerable in a way that it's really going to add to the conversation. Claiming oneself to be vulnerable because that's the new thing and, girls like it and you want to get into their pants. No. We don't do that. We're not gonna have like, oh, I'm feeling vulnerable right now, I'm feeling so close to you right now. No, just drop that crap. It's not fair. We don't do that. Or in a professional environment, when somebody says, well, I really want to be vulnerable with my team right now, and these are the challenges that we are facing, and really that person is more unloading their problem and worry and freaking the team out in the process, rather than scaling back, sharing the information that's actually useful, and paying attention to the impact of being vulnerable. Impact matters. I'll say that over and over and over again. Impact matters. So do we want to be vulnerable? Absolutely. It's a superpower. And like any other superpower, it comes with responsibilities, and we have to gauge if being vulnerable is going to create a connection, or if we're being vulnerable because we want to manipulate people, or we're being vulnerable but really we're just floodlighting our entourage and we're doing it because we want to have some sort of pity, or that is not vulnerability. We need to take ownership of what's going on within ourselves, and we have to be careful that if we are genuinely vulnerable with certain individuals and we're not completely sure that they're going to be able to receive that fully, yes, we can take the risk to get hurt. Yes, we can take the risk not to feel seen and not to feel appreciated. But let's do it in a way that we're not, jumping first and then evaluating the height later. So we also have that power of, yes, I could be vulnerable, but with that person, historically, it just didn't work well. So don't do it. Period. And vulnerability is like any other thing. We evaluate productivity and risks. And yes, we want to be brave and we want to grow and we want to get there, but let's not be reckless in the process either, or self-indulgent, if that makes sense. Yeah? Okay. All right. If you have any stories or if you have any feedback, I'd love to hear from you. And until next week, reach for the greatest version of yourself. You can do it. Bye-bye.